Hello, and welcome to another episode of Breadcast Movie and TV Talk. I am back for another discussion video on a DC animated movie. This one was actually recommended to me by a friend, as well as its sequel, which I will be doing next because it's the sequel. Anyway, I am going to be talking about Justice League Dark. And remember, there will be spoilers. So the movie starts with this lady that has a car hit her, but when the other person gets out of the car, there's some strange creature, and this makes her freak out, get back in her car, and she just kind of runs over a bunch of people before Wonder Woman stops her. She tries to tell Wonder Woman that there's weird monsters, but Wonder Woman obviously doesn't believe her. Then there's a man pointing a rifle at what he sees as some weird creature, but the creature says it's his wife and children, but the guy won't listen. But before he can shoot, Superman pops in and takes the shot, grabs the guy's gun, and folds it in half. Man tries to tell Superman about the creatures and to check the shed, but when he does, all Superman finds is more human bodies. We then go to Gotham, where a woman atop a church is holding a baby about ready to throw it off the edge when Batman shows up wanting to help. The woman says she gave birth to the devil because, she sees the baby as a weird creature. And she ends up tossing the baby, but of course Batman catches the baby. But the lady unfortunately ends up jumping from the building and, dying. We then go to a meeting of all the Justice League members discussing the recent events, in which they come to the conclusion that it must be magic that's causing all of this. We then go to Bruce Wayne at his home, just shaving, and then shit goes crazy and the word Constantine shows up all over his walls, and this leads to the opening credits of the movie. We then go to a poker game between John Constantine and the Demons 3. But things get hairy and the Demons 3 attack. The other guy, Jason, who is with Constantine, Constantine makes him turn into Etrigan the Demon, who has a big-ass sword. And they fight and make the Demons 3 go away, I guess. Back to hell, something. I don't really know what happened here. We then go to a circus act where a woman named Zatanna is the one performing. Afterwards, Batman comes to find her and asks if she knows how to find Constantine. She does something to Batman and gets the character of Deadman to appear. We get the story of Deadman. And then our trio get into the Batmobile. They head for the House of Magic, Constantine's house, and the ride gets bumpy when, tornadoes and all this other stuff try to stop them, but they make it to the house anyway. With Constantine now knowing what's going on, they go to a hospital to find a guy from the beginning of the movie, the one that was planning on shooting his wife and kids. Constantine and Zatanna go into the mind of this guy, and they see whatever dark magic corrupted this guy. At least I think that's the best explanation I can come up with. In the actual hospital, Batman and Deadman have to fight some brown goo monster that almost interferes with what Constantine and Zatanna are doing inside the guy's mind. But they get this weird looking ring thing, and they get out, and they deal with the brown goo monster. They all go back to the House of Magic, and things are not well, as there's one Richie Simpson on the floor, and he was in the movie earlier. They go to him to get some help. Anyways, he's on the floor, on the verge of death and Jason is there, but he runs away, and they catch up to Jason, and they assume that Jason basically almost killed Richie, but Jason said that he was trying to help, and so Batman asks him why he was there. He then gives his whole backstory of having this battle 500 years ago with a character named Destiny, and also Merlin was there. Merlin summons the demon named Etrigan, and they fight. Etrigan fights Destiny, And then Jason's is like dying, so then to save him, Merlin decides to fuse Etrigan to Jason because reasons. After this, they determine that they need to find one Felix Faust because the ring that they found in the dude's mind at the hospital, they think belongs to Felix Faust, and the only problem is that Faust has an invisible castle, so they enlist the help of Swamp Thing, who leads them to this castle conveniently. Jason turns into Etrigan and attacks the castle, and it turns into this big fight where Zatanna eventually loses her shit and almost kills Faust, but Constantine is able to calm her down. Faust basically acts like he doesn't know anything, which he really doesn't know anything. And this is the moment when Batman tells all of them that perhaps Richie isn't really hurt, and that is the big twist of the movie. When he gets up, grabs his cane, and he's got a piece of this dream stone crystal red thing, and then he powers himself up, and this is when Batman and crew appear to try to stop him, but what ends up happening is that Richie becomes the Destiny villain guy. Yeah, the super evil guy that Jason talked about in his backstory. We then have the end fight. We get shown that basically no one can really do anything to hurt Destiny. Batman tells the crew that Justice League are on the way, but Constantine says that they need the Justice League to stay away from Destiny, or they'll have superheroes wrecking the city because, Destiny will use his magic on them, and they'll see everyone as demon creatures, and this is exactly what happens. This makes it so that Batman is busy fighting the Justice League members like Green Lantern, Wonder Woman, and then Constantine tries to get Swamp Thing to help fight Destiny, but that idea fails horribly. Constantine tells Jason and Deadman that they need a Trojan horse. What they do is that Constantine lets Destiny pull him in real close, and then Deadman jumps from Constantine's body into Destiny's body, and this makes Destiny's magic shield come down, and then Jason as Etrigan stabs Destiny, which makes the Dreamstone go flying, which Batman destroys with an exploding Batarang. We wrap up on one sad note that Jason dies because Etrigan and he are no longer fused, which was the only thing keeping Jason alive, and that happened because Etrigan fulfilled his contract with Merlin, apparently. Zatanna tells Constantine that Batman wants the two of them to join the Justice League, and the movie basically is done. So what did I think about Justice League Dark? Well, the first thing that comes to mind is that for being called a Justice League movie, the Justice League is pretty absent from the movie. Yeah, Batman's there for most of the movie, but that's it. Wonder Woman shows up in the beginning a bit, Superman shows up in the beginning and the end a bit, also Wonder Woman shows up at the end a bit, and then Green Lantern shows up at the end a bit, but only briefly. I appreciated that they show the backstory for Jason and Deadman, but I would have liked a little something on Constantine. I mean, they introduce him with someone just saying his full name, like the audience should already know who this character is. I'm sorry, but I don't know who Constantine or Zatanna is, for that matter. I know there's a live-action Constantine movie, but I've never seen it, so this was a new character introduction for me. Now, I don't need a whole flashback about who Constantine is and his sad backstory if he has one, but just a small amount to get the basics across would have been nice. Who knows, maybe it's not necessary because after seeing this, I can kind of get the sense that, Constantine is a guy with magic powers, fights demons, and that's probably all that I need to know. There's an animated Constantine movie, so I don't know, maybe I'll check that out. Maybe that'll have more on the guy. All in all, this movie is pretty good. It's way better than Injustice movie, which is not setting the bar very high, but, still, Justice League Dark is a good and enjoyable movie. And that's all I have to say, so if you want to add to the conversation, leave a comment below. As always, thanks for listening, and goodbye.